Metagaming cannot be entirely avoided. Seasoned players, or even those deeply interested in lore, often know too much background information about a monster. Even when they try to play ignorant, it can still strip the encounter of its magic. After all, knowing a monster's twists and specialties removes the element of surprise. If you're dealing with seasoned players or want to discourage metagamers from abusing outside knowledge, here are 3 unique monsters designed to trick players. These creations will lead them to believe they know what to expect, only to turn the tables and subvert their expectations. The Mimic is as iconic as it gets. Many players carry a stick with them just to poke and prod anything that seems a bit off or out of place, all in the hopes of avoiding a toothy surprise. New players might still relish the thrill of encountering a Mimic, but for seasoned adventurers it has become little more than a nuisance. Enter the Dungeon Shade. The Dungeon Shade, much like its Mimic cousin, is a type of ooze. Its greatest weapon, its intelligence. Dungeon Shades inhabit abandoned dungeons, cave systems, or any confined spaces. Once settled, they spread themselves thin, covering everything with a near invisible layer of their substance. Over time, they begin producing counterfeit objects such as doors, chests, weapons, racks, and even small monsters. In natural settings, they might replicate mushrooms, stalactites, or rock formations. But what's the purpose of all this? The Dungeon Shade creates these decoys as bait, aiming to lure adventurers or even groups of monsters into its domain. Once inside, it alters the layout of the dungeon, constantly shifting entrances and exits, creating new rooms and objects. It sets up unsolvable riddles, heavy obstacles to be moved, and sensory distractions like noises or illusions, all designed to disorient and exhaust its prey. Its weakness? The Dungeon Shade's replications are crude imitations. It's like asking an untrained artist to create a dungeon. Soon the party will notice the inconsistencies. Door with 3 handles, coin pile fused into a solid mass, or a barrel of spoiled food that inexplicably smells like flowers. The Shade doesn't truly understand what it replicates, and the longer the party lingers, the worse its imitations become. Eventually, the surroundings start to resemble a poorly rendered AI-generated image. And that's when the party realizes they're utterly lost. That's the moment the Dungeon Shade strikes. Pseudopods lash out from the walls, attempting to drag players into its gooey form. It spews sticky acid into the room, aiming to digest its prey. Can your party escape? Slashing into pseudopods will weaken the Shade, but it will recover as long as its core remains intact. Its layer action constantly shifts the dungeon's layout, creating traps and blocking the path towards the center. As the Shade takes damage, it retracts its influence, gradually revealing the original dungeon beneath the illusion. By following the disappearing fake features, the party can locate the Shade's core. There they must deliver the killing blow, and they'll find the hoard of items the Shade had used as blueprints for its deception. A jewel-encrusted skull is enough to ring alarm bells for any seasoned player. A demi-lich can be fearsome when stirred from its slumber, and nature has found a way to take advantage of this. The Lichmoth Larva. The larva uses whatever it can to scavenge in dungeons to build its cocoon, and treasure happens to be the most abundant material available in a dungeon, where the larva primarily feeds on undead remains. Once they gathered enough energy, the metamorphosis begins. The larvae collects treasure and uses its silk to bind the pieces into a cocoon. Over time, the cocoons that most resembled skulls survived more often than those simply looked like heaps of treasure. This adaptation has created a chilling yet deceptive camouflage. The silk itself is incredibly durable. The amount used in a single cocoon could easily be repurposed into a lightweight yet remarkably strong cloth armor. Depending on how close the party examines the cocoon, they might be able to discern the decoy and harvest the silk. However, a hasty combination of a surprise round, perhaps Fireball, Eldritch Blast, or a Great Axe Swing, could reveal the ruse and destroy the material. The moth itself is relatively harmless, however the fluids in the cocoon are highly acidic. A violent approach to cracking open the cocoon should be rewarded with a burst of acid onto any party member standing too close. The humble kobold is often dismissed as nothing more than a lackey. One of the weakest monsters, it's usually played for laughs and few take it seriously. Let's flip that perception on its head by creating a creature that exploits this supposed weakness. Meet the Playmaster, an ambush predator thriving in the Underdark. Similar to a stargazer fish, it buries itself beneath the ground, leaving only a fleshy appendage exposed. These appendages mimic the appearance of kobolds, complete with reflective glittering scales that resemble precious stones. Playmasters often live in groups, crafting elaborate displays of kobold-like shapes. They possess specialized air sacs that produce chittering sounds, closely imitating the high-pitched draconic language kobolds are known for. While someone fluent in draconic might recognize the noise as nothing but gibberish, those who are not may easily fall for the illusion. The sounds, movement, and glittering treasure lure all kinds of prey, creating the perfect ambush. Once prey gets too close, the Playmaster strikes. It attempts to swallow its victim whole, dragging them underground to suffocate. Its massive jaws are a formidable weapon, though the creature's greatest weakness lies in its low mobility. It can add variety by replacing the kobold bait with other creatures. How about a lonesome drow scout to draw in adventurers? Or perhaps a massive version of the Playmaster that uses a bullet as bait. The most important thing about the Playmaster is to give the party a fair chance to uncover the ruse. There's nothing more satisfying than watching the party realize they've outsmarted you, and those moments often make for the most memorable encounters. I hope you found a creature you like, and I'd love to hear some of your battle reports on how they performed. If you enjoyed this video, please consider checking out my short content. I've got tons more inspiration for DMs or anyone who just enjoys listening to me ramble about D&D. Hope to see you again in the next video.